Hi everyone, I'm Will Brown and welcome to the WP Quickies series, bite-sized WordPress tips and tricks in 30 minutes or less. In this lunchtime WP Quickies, I'm going to be talking about the automated service if this then that, or IFT as it's called. So thanks for taking the time to join me on this kind of overcast Sydney afternoon. Apologies as well for last week. I had my COVID jab and it kind of knocked me for 6. So I really apologise for cancelling at late notice. I've rescheduled that one. It's archive and post. I've rescheduled that in May. Beginning of May. So if that's what you're looking for, just have a look on meetup.com and see when that one is coming up. Please drop your name, who you are, where you're from in the comments below, and we'll see who is joining us today. So just a few little housekeeping notes as well. If you are on one of the social media channels, make sure you hit on subscribe, ding bells, click on likes and all that good stuff. We have a Facebook meetup group as well. So it's WordPress Sydney Meetup on Facebook. And if you're looking for any of the WordPress groups in Australia, then go to wpaustralia.org. And there's a button there to find all the meetup groups, because some of them are starting to kick off back up in person and online as well after the 2-year break as well. And just a little admin thing there. So if you're performing admin on client websites, then have a look at wasg.com.au. I'll leave that for you. And last thing here is, well, maybe not last thing, but we're started off the big WordPress Sydney meetups again, the evening meetups in person as well. So this one, the next one is SEO basics. So kind of ranking on Google for your site. So we'll have a look at all the SEO basics, kind of the on-page SEO and the technical SEO as well, those different aspects. Now, and normally we have it on the last Monday of every month, and that is that's going to be for ongoing ones. But the last Monday of this month is Anzac Day. I didn't realize, so I'm rescheduling it. Just this one meetup. So it's going to be on Thursday, April the 21st. So that's at 6 p.m. at the Microsoft Reactor in Sydney, an in-person meetup. So if you're looking to network with people, eat some pizza, learn some SEO stuff, please come along on Thursday, April the 25th. And I'm always looking for suggestions for these WP Quickies. Please fill out the forum below, and the links in the description as well. And let me know some new topics that I can do. And all the links and stuff are shared in the video description and on the meetup groups and Facebook groups afterwards as well. And please just drop comments and questions in the comments area down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. Okay, let's see who we've got online here. So we've got Future Shock from Marrickville. Hello there. We have Jean as well from Arimba. Hope I've pronounced that properly. And we've got Elmaco for you from Guildford. So thank you very much, guys, for joining in. I am going to jump into the presentation today. So let's have a look. If this, then that. Okay, let's make this a little bit bigger. There we go. So what is it? What is this thing I'm talking about today? So the IFT name is derived from the common programming conditional statement. So you're a programmer, you'll be pretty much aware of this. But the conditional statement, if this, then that, that's basically what it's what the name is derived from. The pronunciation, if you actually want to know how you pronounce this properly, it's called IFT. So pronounced as in gift, as in a gift you give someone, but without the g. So it's IFT. Now, IFT connects devices, apps, and services together in a workflow to run actions upon certain trigger conditions which are met without having to write any code at all. These workflows in the IFT world are called applets. Now, the service itself has 18 million users running on it, and they run over 1 billion applets every month, according to a 2020 report on their website. So by any means, it's not a small service. Now, I first ran into IFT in 2012, just when I came across to Sydney. So I was looking to automate a few things, do some automate some social posts as well. So create a post on the website, post up to Facebook or Twitter, I think it was then. So that was my first interaction with IFT. And it was my kind of first interaction with kind of WordPress automation as well, trying to automate some of the stuff and try and give me a little bit more time to do other things as well. So one of the things that get asked an awful lot is a comparison between IFT and Zapier. Now, Zapier was also launched at the same time. IFT was launched in 2011, so it was one of the first automation services on the internet. And Zapier was launched roughly the same time, 2011 as well. And it offers the same basic concept of automation without any code. However, there's a few key differences between the services, between IFT and Zapier. Now, in general, IFT targets personal automation audience and Zapier targets business automation market. Of course, you can use both services for personal and business. However, IFT's marketing seems to really focus on the personal market. And you can see that clearly. And I've cut some bits out from their homepage and their services page. Now you can see here it's highlighting things like home automation. So you got the Philip Hue changes when it detects sunrise or sunset. And then there's a focus on, there's Amazon Alexa talking to your Google Mail and your calendar. And then we've got a little bit at the bottom that says, making your voice assistant more personal. And they're talking about putting events on your iPhone based on stuff that's coming out from Google Assistant. So as you can see clearly that IFT is very, very focused on the kind of the personal space, the personal audience space. Now, the main difference in the kind of workflow between IFT and Zapier is that IFT offers kind of only one trigger and only one action. Now, they do offer paid plans, which you can spawn multiple actions, but it's a very simpler, much more simpler workflow than Zapier. Zapier offers a lot more conditionals and filtering on things like triggers and actions, and they call their Zap, they call their workflow Zap. So it's a bit more complicated, whereas IFT is kind of dialed back a bit. So it's kind of a lot simpler. Okay, now supported services. So there are over 650 supported services, or what they call partners, available to choose from. So obviously there's too many to mention for those. But of course, there's a heavy lean towards like personal devices and home automation, as I've mentioned. So you'll see that when you're looking through some of the services, a lot of them are kind of in that kind of smart home devices, or personal trackers and voice assistants, that sort of thing. That's what it's primarily focused on. Now, the services are bundled together in helpful categories like social media, appliances, and yes, even smart blinds, which is what this one is taken from. So you can choose your blinds. You can close your blinds automatically just as the sun sets in your suburb and open them at sunrise should you wish to do that. So there's lots and lots of really specific names and brands in there. It's actually kind of worthwhile scrolling through the services page on IFT just to see exactly all the sort of stuff that it's linked to. And a lot of these services are really current. So there's an appliances one, which can link to smart fridges, that are on the market, smart appliances, so smart ovens and things like that. So if you're really into the home automation, there's some really good and current services supported for that. Okay, so getting started. Now, the IFT user interface, the UI is very simple and it's very big. So the interface is literally as big as you're seeing it on the screen right now. Huge buttons for that. Now, the free plan allows you to create up to 5 applets. And an applet, again, is like their complete workflow. So you've got a trigger and then you've got an action. That's an applet. So it's great, if you want to get started, with home automation or with automation in general, and you haven't dabbled with it before, then this free version gives you 5 of those little things that you can play around with and see how they work. Now, this is the starting point here. If you want to create a new applet, of course, you need to first define a trigger, and that's the if this part, before you can specify the action, which is then that. So as far as triggers go, this is obviously a WPQuickies, so we're talking about WordPress. So as far as WordPress triggers go, there are only 2 triggers specific to WordPress website. So this is something that's kicking off from within your WordPress website. Now, to be honest, I was pretty disappointed by the lack of WordPress triggers, considering how popular the WordPress CMS is in today's marketplace. But, this is what it is. So a trigger can be fired. This is the WordPress triggers. A trigger can be fired when there's a new post published, or if there's a new post with a specific tag or category within your WordPress site. Now, the fact that IFT service continues to mention a WordPress blog kind of reinforces the fact that this is focused on the personal market and nothing to do with business related. However, if you're starting out, this may be all that you need. So connect up your WordPress website with the applet, and please note that you need the XML RPC service enabled for this to work. It is enabled by default, but I know that a lot of people run plugins like deactivate XML RPC service to kind of shut down that service as part of like a security measure. But if you want to use IF, then you need to leave that open. Okay, so once your website is connected, and it's as simple as entering your blog URL, your username and password, and that will then be stored within IF, and then you can log in. So once that's connected, you can complete the trigger by choosing the WordPress account that it runs under or runs against, and the tag or category to trigger from. So I selected the second one. So when a post is published under a particular tag or category, it doesn't matter which one. Again, there's no specificity there. Then that's that trigger created. So that's that one done. So obviously we need to add an action now. So once your trigger has been created, then you can come back to this screen, this really simple, big and chunky screen, and add your action part, which is the then that. Now, here is a list of Twitter actions that you could link this applet with. So just like triggers, you have to go and set up and authenticate the services that you want to use by providing logging credentials or API credentials within that service as well. So here's just a few examples here. So if you're posting a new blog post on your WordPress website, you might want to post a tweet about it. You might want to post a tweet with the featured image as well. And then there's things like updating profile pictures and updating bio as well, which probably isn't relevant in this situation. But this Twitter one is it's not the only service that you can think about. I did have a look around for Instagram. Funnily enough, I couldn't actually find Instagram. So it seems like, that's not linked there. I did find Facebook, and it was a Facebook page, I think, that you could update to. It didn't look like you could update to the live stream for that, like your live profile for that. And I just had to dig around for those, but trying to keep it relevant to WordPress and what you would do with WordPress. Now, if you're looking to create a WordPress action from another trigger, so again, there's only two. So this is like, for example, if you're doing something on Twitter, if you're posting social media or something else, and then you want to do something within WordPress from that as like an action. Again, there's only two actions, WordPress actions that you can choose from. So, if as a trigger, as an action. So when something triggers, then you can then within WordPress create a post, or you can create a photo post, whatever that is. Now, perhaps this relates to the largely abandoned WordPress 3.1 post formats. Does anyone use those things now? Like standard image, a side link, all that sort of stuff. I haven't seen those in donkey's years, so I'm really not too sure, how relatable this really is at the moment. Okay, so that's it. I know it was really quick. It was a really, really quick tour that I had of IFT. And IFT is a very simple automation service, and it's clearly targeting personal audiences rather than businesses. And it's even more defined. It's kind of clearly targeting voice assistants and home automation, or like your fitness tracking stuff. Now, if you're into home automation, you've got these voice assistants, then IFT is probably a good beginner's choice for getting into dabbling with automation. If you want to link your WordPress website up with automation, IFT is clearly stuck over a decade back in time with very rudimentary triggers and actions for a WordPress blog, supporting some of the features that have long since been abandoned. So I was pretty disappointed when I was reviewing this. I kind of had high hopes that it could be on the kind of the par of Zapier, but definitely is not. So probably not something you want to use with your WordPress site anymore. For those, my recommendation is that you probably stick with Zapier. Or have a look at Integromat as well, which is a more complicated one. But yeah, so largely disappointed with the integration with IFT, but it is there. Maybe you can use it in a non-WordPress context. It has these really good services for, as I say, voice assistants and home automation. But as far as WordPress is concerned, it's my thumbs down for that one. So guys, if you've got any questions about that, about IFT or automation in general, please drop them in the comments below. I'll try to answer. In the meanwhile, Always happy to connect with you guys online. If you haven't done so already, I'll just get rid of myself there. I've got a new website, willbrown.com. Please check that out. It's kind of more of a personal brand. I'm going to start dialing up some courses and good business content on there very, very soon. Otherwise, there's my other websites there. I'm mostly on LinkedIn these days under Will Brown AU, sometimes on Instagram, and I rant sometimes on Twitter as well, willbrown_AU. Okay, let's see. Next week on WP Quickies, I'm going to be looking at the WooCommerce products loop. So the products loop, similar to the WordPress post loop, it's at the core of WooCommerce. It's at the core of the shop page. So that's how you output all the information in the shop page and the archives page and so on. So it's probably a good idea to understand what this products loop is all about, and maybe look at a little bit of customization if that's what you want to do. So please join me next week for WooCommerce product loops, and if not, I'll see you then. Thank you guys. Bye.